Welcome to the Lowcountry Report. I'm McNair. Coming up, the PGA Tournament speaks. A representative addresses sponsorship issues at the Heritage Media Day event. Also, there were sure signs of spring in the Lowcountry this past weekend, from the Marsh Tacky Race at Coligny Beach Park to pick your own daffodils in Bluffton. And if you live on Hilton Head Island, listen up. You've got to opt in for recycling. We'll get details. And Laura Silberman has our entertainment report. But first, these headlines. The Heritage Tournament held its media day on Monday. Tour director Steve Wilmot spoke about the issue of a major sponsor for the Heritage and told the audience that together anything is possible. The media paid particularly close attention when Ty Votaw, Executive Vice President of Communications and International Affairs for the PGA Tour, spoke about a potential sponsor for the event. He said talks have been ongoing and offered this glimpse of hope for future good news.
We've had conversations with a number of prospective sponsors who have expressed interest in looking at this, and those conversations are continuing, and we hope to be able to make a lot of people happy over the next several weeks if those conversations continue in the manner in which they have to date.
So you're optimistic?
We have to be. I think that's something that we want to be able to, we want to come back here because it is a special place, and we're doing everything we can working with everybody here to make that possible.
3 young South Carolinian golfers will be playing the Heritage in 2011 thanks to sponsor exemptions. Steve Wilmot made the announcement that Mark Anderson, Kyle Stanley, and Chris Epperson will be a part of the 43rd Annual Heritage Tournament. All 3 live in Beaufort County. For more on this story, go to islandpacket.com. The month-long Gullah celebration on Hilton Head Island wrapped up Sunday at Coligny Beach Park. There were lots of people and horses there for the 3rd annual Marsh Tacky Race. Marsh Tacky is the only horse that is indigenous to South Carolina. After harvest season, the Gullah people would race their tackies to see who would get bragging rights for the fastest horse. Marsh Tacky has been deemed the state heritage horse by the South Carolina legislature.
The Marsh Tacky is a horse that you would only find on the coastal barrier islands, the low country of South Carolina. The horse has over 500, 600 years adapted itself to be able to live and forage in the swamps and the marshes, not like any other horse can do. A lot of people say it's just that little small brown horse. Well, it's small. It's about 13 to 14 hands high, and it's built that way so it can survive in the marsh, and it can survive off very little forage and food. If you have a large horse trying to go through the swamp or the muck or the mud, it's going to get stuck. This horse won't. It's light, it's sure-footed, it thinks, it has a calculating attribute about it. It's not easily shaken, it's not easily spooked, it's very well aware of its surroundings.
The overall winner on Sunday was a 22-year-old mare named Molly. She was ridden by Brittany Bowen. On Saturday, young people and people of all ages had the chance to see some very special animals at the Heritage Breeds Festival held at Honey Horn. The event served to highlight local animals and historic breeds that used to be on farms. It came about thanks to a partnership between the Coastal Discovery Museum and the Livestock Breeds Conservancy.
Our mission is to interpret the cultural heritage and natural history, so this is actually a really good intersection for us of the animals and their historic importance here in the Lowcountry. And so we're so happy to have some of these critically endangered breeds here and to be able to show off some of the conservation efforts.
The fog rolling in on South Beach Marina did little to dampen the celebration Saturday at the Salty Dog. Folks gathered for an oyster roast and to celebrate a special occasion for the establishment. The Salty Dog was inducted into the Haynes Beefy Tea Hall of Fame. President Bob Gossett of the Salty Dog said it was an important day.
We've been here since 1987, 25 years of Haynes Beefy Teas, Salty Dog t-shirts. We're inducted in the Haynes Beefy Tea Hall of Fame. Really excited. It's a great day. It's a big party. So it's probably one of the biggest days we've ever had here. We're really excited.
And asked any idea how many t-shirts have been sold?
We've printed millions of them, and we're excited about that, and we're looking forward to the future. But print lots of t-shirts. We're happy that people buy them, and it's become somewhat of a tradition on Hilton Head, and we're happy to be here.
It's a sure sign that spring has arrived. On Saturday, the Three Sisters Farm, along with the Sisters One Brother, opened their daffodil fields to the public for picking in Bluffton. The bright yellow flowers are just beginning to make their appearance on the fields off Calhoun Plantation Road. A visit to the fields to pick daffodils is a long-standing tradition for many area families.
We have people that have been coming back for many years. They've been taking pictures of their infants, and those kids are teenagers or even in college now, and it's pretty neat that they do that.
The fields will be open for the next 4 to 5 weekends. You can check their website for details at threesistersorganicfarm.com. Well, now it's time for sports, and Monday morning we had a chance to check in with Justin Jarrett of the Island Packet before the start of the Heritage Media Day.
Well, it's always nice to be out here at Harbortown. You know, anything heritage related definitely ranks up there among our favorite times of the year. Media Day, always a fun time, and unfortunately it doesn't look like we're going to get the big news today, the good news, but hopefully some good news coming out of here, and some optimism going into April that hopefully by the time we're back here again in April we'll be talking about a new title sponsor, and that'd be great because, you know, I think for everyone around here who covers sports, Heritage Week is probably our favorite week of the year.
Justin also gave us a wrap-up on last weekend's sports events.
Rough weekend for USCB baseball. They dropped 3 down in Florida, so they'll be looking to bounce back this week. A couple of games Tuesday and Wednesday at home against Southern Wesleyan, and then they go down to Florida again for Northwood for a conference series. So they'll try to get things turned around. Kind of in a transition period right now. Basketball season, wrestling season wrapping up. LaBelle Lewis from Hilton Head High won a state championship, so that was great news for the Seahawks and great news for LaBelle. So a successful winter season around here, but hopefully that'll carry over into the spring.
This weather report brought to you by Beaufort Memorial Bluffton Medical Services, offering Beaufort Memorial's quality care close to home.
Sunny with a high of 62 on Tuesday, a low of 47. Wednesday, sunny again, a high of 64, a low of 49. Thursday will be mostly sunny, a high of 63, a low of 51. And on Friday, mostly cloudy, a high of 64, a low of 53. When we come back, what it means to be LEED certified. That's the designation that's been given to Tanger Outlet 1, scheduled to open at the end of March. Stay with us. The new Tanger Outlet 1, scheduled to open at the end of March, has achieved the status of being known as LEED certified. But just what does that mean? Here to explain and talk about the construction of Tanger Outlet 1 is John Rembold of Ward Edwards. Great to see you, John.
Thanks, great to be here.
What exactly does LEEDs mean, or what does it mean to be LEED certified?
When a project is LEED certified, that means that the project has been verified to have incorporated sustainable building design practices and construction practices, and it's a third-party verification. It's an internationally recognized certification, and it's really a very esteemed certification for a project to achieve.
Can we, in a sense, John, call it that it's being green, so to speak?
Definitely. It's being green in a lot of ways. There's a lot of low-impact aspects to this project, so yes, it's definitely green.
How has the construction itself been green, or can you give us some examples?
Yes, during the construction phase, as you know, the entire site was demolished and then it's being rebuilt, and a lot of the construction materials from the old site were recycled and will be incorporated into the new site. Some examples there were 167 tons of steel that have been recovered from the old site and were recycled. Over 4,000 tons of asphalt will be recycled and reincorporated right into that same project, so that never left the site.
I mean, can you imagine if that hadn't been done, just the amount of, I don't want to, I guess, call it waste, that would have been if it hadn't been recycled? It seems incredible to me.
It definitely is. One of the biggest number we have is that there was concrete recycled from the old site, and about 11,000 tons of concrete was recycled, which never left the site. So there were no trucks that got on the road. They saved fuel, they saved the traffic burdens on the roads and all the emissions. So a huge savings, not only in materials, but in labor and other less recognized aspect sometimes.
Well, when you say huge savings, do you mean for Tanger as well as you mentioned, environmentally for the surrounding community?
Yes, definitely. There are some cost benefits to doing this because they didn't have to pay for fuel costs and some material costs. There were definitely savings there to Tanger and certainly to the community, as you can imagine, from traffic tie-ups that didn't happen on the road and less emissions that went out into the environment and that sort of thing.
Why do you think, from your perspective, we're asking now, was it important for Tanger to become LEED certified? Was that something that they decided right at the beginning?
Tanger has been committed to this since the very beginning. It was part of the development agreement that the team negotiated with Beaufort County. But ever since Tanger decided they would be LEED certified, they've been at it full bore and have never looked back.
Now, you mentioned some of the benefits to the community or the area. Is there anything else you want to add before I move on to another question?
Well, one of the biggest benefits that we saw from the civil engineering side at Ward Edwards is from the stormwater side. There's a big concern in Beaufort County about the quality of our water, of the stormwater that enters our waterways, and we've taken measures in this project to make sure that the water that leaves the site at a very controlled rate is of very high quality as it enters the watershed.
Well, as you mentioned that, it is extremely important in our area. Do you see that this is a trend, companies or businesses saying it's important to us now to become LEED certified? Is it more of a priority than it has been?
It is. Ward Edwards has worked on several projects here locally that are LEED certified. One is the J. Banks building here on Hilton Head. Also the Beaufort Jasper Water Sewer Authority Administration building is a LEED certified building. And there's other developers and businesses who are very interested in this. And even if they don't get LEED certified, then they certainly try to incorporate sustainable aspects into their design.
Well, John, it has been great having you on Lowcountry Report to let us know about this. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And in keeping with the LEED's theme, we also want to let you know that we're going to be hearing from LaDonna Shamlou of Tanger One and Tanger Outlets. She'll be letting us know about their Gloriously Green grand opening that's taking place the end of the month on March 31st. So stay tuned for that. When we come back on the Lowcountry Report, we're going to find out about recycling on Hilton Head Island. If you're a resident, we'll have important information for you on what you need to do. Stay tuned. A new recycling program on Hilton Head Island gets underway starting April 1st. If you're a resident and you think all you need to do is simply sit back, relax, and wait for the process to begin, well, think again. You actually need to opt into the program. And here with the details, Scott Liggett, Town Director of Facilities and Public Projects. Great to see you, Scott.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Can you give us some background as to how we got to this point where we're going to be beginning this recycling program April 1st?
Sure. Back in November, Town Council authorized the execution of a franchise agreement for the provision of waste and recycling services. These services are applicable and relevant only to residential properties, either conventional detached single-family homes or what we call cart-based multifamily, units that employ the use of a service yard and trash cans as opposed to villa units that maybe rely on dumpster-based collection system, something in the parking lot. Those units are not applicable, neither are commercial properties served by this agreement.
Now, if I am a viewer and listening to the list that you just gave us and I fall under one of those entities, I have to opt in. What are the ways that I can do so?
Sure, absolutely. And I would invite folks to look at this just like they do other domestic services, whether it be for power, water, sewer, internet, cable TV. They certainly do need to reach out and contact the service provider. Our franchisee in this case, which is Republic Services, make contact with them to get the services started. They can do that in one of four ways. The first is a telephone call. The telephone number is 681-6330. Alternatively, they could arrange services through email contact at hiltonhead@republicservices.com. Additionally, for those folks that received the flyer that was mailed out here in the last couple of weeks, there are provisions to literally fill out a paper form, drop that in the mail, or the last option, beginning March the 7th, we will have staff on hand, a customer service rep from Republic at our facilities management building at 12 Gateway Center that will be there in person to sign folks up if they so choose.
Well, great. I mean, you certainly have a lot of different ways people can go ahead and opt in. Is there advice that you'd like to give as far as do it sooner rather than later?
Republic is available to sign folks up at their convenience. I certainly would recommend it sooner rather than later. But there is no requirement that they sign up in a given period of time before this April 1st effective date starts. So entirely based on the customer, but I would invite folks to do that as their schedule allows.
What about options with regards to plans? How does that work?
Sure, there are generally two very common service plans we are offering. One involves a once-a-week trash pickup and a once-a-week recycling pickup. The other option is a twice-a-week trash pickup complemented with a once-a-week recycling. There are alternatives available for folks that may have a special demand or a special need that includes Saturday trash pickup for those units that are within the rental pool here. But bottom line, I would invite anybody to contact Republic if they've got some specific demands or specific requests as it relates to their service needs.
So if they don't fall within the norms of the two options available, there is a way to work something out with Republic?
I would invite folks to call Republic and give us an opportunity to address their needs.
What do I do if I've got another service that's providing me with that service right now? What happens there?
Sure. In the case where we have folks that may have an existing contract on April 1, those contracts can remain in effect until the natural life of those agreements. Nothing in the town's process or agreement necessarily upsets that or causes a premature termination to those contracts. However, it is inconsistent with the town code for any new contract for these services to be executed after April 1. On the tail end of this, we did employ what I would term a sunset clause in that we do expect that after September 30th of 2012, 18 months from now, that Republic Services will be the only service provider in this regard here on the island. So folks essentially have 18 months working under an existing agreement to transition over to Republic.
Well, that certainly gives them a lot of time to make those changes. I want to ask you, though, there are the do-it-yourself types that like to do their own hauling of trash or recycling. How does that work now?
Sure. If folks that want to self-haul, as we call it, can certainly continue to do that. The county's convenience center will remain open per their schedule, and folks that are inclined to take their trash and recyclables there can certainly do that.
Now, before we let you go, I know you've got a couple of special events coming up. Why don't you let us know about those?
Sure, a couple of events. The first is on March 15th. It's actually going to be located at the Hilton Head Island Library from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Republic Services is working with Experience Green, a local nonprofit group here that deals with stewardship and sustainability issues, to host a recycling and sustainable waste management seminar. And again, at the Hilton Head Library, March 15th from 6 p.m. to 7:30. The other event is another event being sponsored or hosted by, presented by Experience Green. This is the town's Earth Day celebration. Will be conducted April 2nd, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the town's Shelter Cove Park.
Well, Scott Liggett, as always, you always have great information for us here on the Lowcountry Report, and want to thank you for joining us.
Yep, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And right now we're going to check in with Laura Silberman, who has our entertainment report.
Thanks, Allie. I'm sitting here today with Mona Huff, who is with the Hilton Head International Young Artist Competition this year, which is March 7th through the 12th. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Tell me what's different this year about the piano competition.
Well, although it's our 16th year of having the competition, this is the first year we're having a young artist competition.
Wonderful.
We're very excited about it. Now, young meaning ages 13 to 17 was the age group that could apply, and our competitors are from ages actually 14 to 17.
Tommy, we were talking a little earlier about how reasonable some of the ticket pricing is for this wonderful event.
This is the best entertainment buy you can have in Hilton Head all year long.
Perfect.
The daily rounds, when the kids are playing individually, are $10 a day. And you will get to hear 10 competitors for that $10. I think $1 a competitor is a really good price value.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned something else that some of the competitors will do after the competition, or once if they're not in the final rounds of the competition. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the 2 rounds are, we don't remove anybody as they go from round 1 to round 2. But at the end of round 2, they have the finals, and 6 are selected. The other 14 will be going to the schools around Bluffton and Hilton Head to visit.
Tell me, we'll have the information on the screen where people can purchase tickets. We think it's probably better for them to purchase them ahead of time if they can. So
Absolutely.
We look forward to seeing all those wonderful young people playing piano.
Thank you.
Thanks, Allie. Well, I hope we've given you something else to think about doing for entertainment this week. Back to you, Allie.
Our thanks to Laura. Time now for the pet of the week, and she is April. April is funny. She's described as being loving and people-oriented. April is a pizza junkie, and we're told she will steal the cheese right off your pizza slice. For more information, you can call Palmetto Animal League at 843-645-1725. That will do it for this edition of the Lowcountry Report. I'm Allie McNair. We'll see you the next time.